Following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah, go Cowboys!
This is Mick Shots.
Streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
And it's not Monday morning at 11 a.m., but it kind of sort of is because it's the second day of the new year in the National Football League. And we have so much to talk about here on Mick Shots inside the SWBC podcast studio. And Mickey Spagnola has returned from wherever he went. Everson Walls is in the house as well. And we got a lot of catching up to do.
We sure do. Mm-hmm. Last night, I was here working.
Mickey's got his snow beard going.
I do.
Everson.
I do.
What's going on, Spags?
Well, there's no sense if you're out skiing to shave.
Oh, excuse me. Wow.
Right? So,
I didn't know you were living like that.
Yeah.
Is this an annual ski trip for you?
It is.
Okay.
Sometimes, way back, I used to go a couple of times.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm limited to one.
Mm-hmm.
And the big news is you came back healthy.
I did.
Thank God.
Not a problem. I don't ski for a gold medal anymore.
Okay.
Oh, anymore?
Anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
Before I did. Yeah. Tried to get better and better,
So you timed it so that we could do mix shots after the start of the new league.
That's
year,
right.
We'd have more to talk about. We wouldn't be speculating.
And I think we probably need more than 45 minutes.
Uh-huh. We succeeded.
Last night I was working. It was my day to write, and I was like, okay, now I got to add this. What? No, wait, I got to add this. No, there's another one I got to add. And it just kept going and going and going after the Cowboys ended up with signing over or making it official, 5 guys in free agency and 2 trades. So actually 6. I almost forgot 5. Jack Sanborn was the last one to go down last night. Linebacker had been in Chicago, so I'm assuming Matt Eberflus knew all about him since he made the Bears as a undrafted free agent out of Wisconsin. Linebacker, special teams player. He's
Didn't think we'd start with Jack Sanborn.
I know, but that's how we got going. He's a younger Nick Vigil. Okay.
All right.
Start where you want.
All right.
Let's start with who we lost.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's
Well,
do that.
that also.
See, Everson's got his finger on the pulse of the community.
That's right.
We want to know
And
what
so,
we can bitch about.
Let's start. How about we start with D-Law?
Yeah, that one.
Second-round draft pick in 2014 after 11 seasons here. The 4-time Pro Bowler headed to the Seattle Seahawks.
Aiden Dirty.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of money.
Threw a lot of money at him at a 3-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
You see the guarantee on it?
I did not.
I did last night, and in fact, I told someone I bet the guarantee. It was 3 years, $42 million, and I said I bet the guarantee. I don't know how I landed on this, but on top of my head, I said $18 million, and sure enough, $18 million guarantee.
And that's $18 million for a guy that's starting his 12th year.
Well, he'll be 33 next month,
33.
and so it's pretty easy to figure out what the guarantee is going to be for a 33-year-old.
Right.
And yeah, it sounds great. 3 years, $42 million, and hopefully he can play 3 years. But
he's 33 years old.
He'll be 33 next month.
At 33, I was out of the league.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You weren't getting guaranteed.
I was not.
Most players are out of it.
That's right.
And so if you look at the going rate for someone of his ilk, now coming off of major injury too, that in that $18 to $20 million range would be his 1-year salary.
But that's why
at
it's
the top
so
of his
surprising,
game.
though, right? I mean,
So I look at it as it's probably more of a 1.5 year type guarantee, and but good for him.
No, and he only played 4 games last year.
Yeah.
He was very effective
And he
in
was
those
very
4 games.
effective in those 4 games. And if you remember, if we look back at it, he was their best run defender as a defensive end, by the way. And
For about 10 years.
and his pressures were high. I hated to see that. I just had a feeling that somebody was going to price the Cowboys out of the market. Seattle certainly did, but I knew he wanted to play. I ran into him here 3 weeks ago, something like that. And I said, "Are you healthy? Are you ready to go?" He goes, "Yeah." And from what I was told, had the Cowboys been in anything last year, he would have been able to play the last maybe
In the playoffs, mean?
in the month of the
Okay.
season and the playoffs if they were in the playoffs. So if you remember, he had a Liz Frank injury to his foot, and I was told it was like nearly needed surgery, but it didn't. And that was a tough one to come back from. But when I asked him, he goes, "I'm ready to go. I'm rehabbing." I said, "Well, do you want to, 11 years,
Yeah.
do you want to play?" And he goes, "I need to." I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I just had another child." He said, "I need health insurance." So I think 18 million guaranteed is a probably good chunk of health insurance. You know what? He was such a good guy here, good teammate. For some reason, over the years, and I don't know, Bill's around these guys, but at some point when you're around them that long, you sort of bond with some
Of
guys,
course you
and
do.
I kind of bonded with him.
Right.
And it started with his rookie year when he fractured his fifth metatarsal, and he missed the first 10, 12 games his rookie year rehabbing. And I told him, "Hey, no problem. I recovered from my fifth fractured metatarsal. You can do it too. You're young." And he was just a good guy.
Well, he was a leader in the locker room.
Yes.
No doubt about it. When
right.
things were going bad, he was the one that everyone always looked towards to say something or get somebody going. So
And he would
was
say
that
something,
locker
too,
room
by
guy,
the way.
but
Yeah.
he's a locker room guy that can play.
Right.
He's a locker room guy that makes plays when we need him to make plays. So that's what makes the loss to me so deep.
And if you remember, his rookie year, I want to say it was in the playoff game against Detroit. He made a play, recovered the ball, and then fumbled it, and then he made a sack at the end to seal the game, and that got his career off and running.
Well, dang, we can't just lament on him this whole time. What about
Let's lament on Rico then.
right?
Rico Dowdle is now a
Yep.
Carolina Panther, and of course the Cowboys signed Javonte Williams. And they haven't officially announced that yet, but Javonte Williams reportedly is headed
Yes.
to the Cowboys. And it's a very similar contract for both of them. Rico's got incentives that can get it up to double the $3 million base, but
So just a one-year deal.
1 year deal for Rico and 1 year deal for Javonte Williams as well.
So
And then you look at Carolina's situation, and they've got Chuba Hubbard. They released Miles Sanders, obviously, and this was a couple of days ago. They released Miles Sanders, so clearly they felt like they were going to sign Rico or someone. And so they made that move. They've got Chuba Hubbard, and then they've got the second-round draft pick, Jonathan Brooks, out of Texas, who suffered his second straight ACL injury last season. So he's out. So they needed a second running back to go with Chuba Hubbard. And so it's running back by committee there.
So, which do you think took place first? The Cowboys agreeing with Javonte Williams?
I'm going to assume, because the contracts are so similar,
Yeah.
they probably told Rico, this is what we're willing to spend on a running back, veteran running back.
Right.
And he decided he wanted to test the market.
And then he got the same thing.
And but in the meantime, the Cowboys had to make their move.
Right.
And I assume that's the way it happened.
And he's close to home, right?
Yeah, he's from Carolina.
Yeah. So this puts another
And in the
exclamation mark on the Cowboys drafting a running back, I would think. right?
They were going to do that.
Yes, regardless.
Yeah.
So
They could sign another veteran running back, and they're still drafting a running back at some point in this draft.
Right, exactly.
Javonte Williams is 2 years younger than Rico Dowdle. Now, Javonte, I loved him. The Big Green Notebook loved him coming out of North Carolina. His second year in 2022, suffered a knee injury, and but he's come back the last year or two, and he's been. I don't know if he has the same explosion that he had coming out of North Carolina, but he's been. A decent back, to where I don't know that there's that much difference between Rico Dowdle and Javonte Williams,
right?
And so that's why they wind up in the same pay range.
Actually, it's probably and I mean, depending on what happens in the draft, a good sign for Deuce Vaughn that maybe he'll get a little bit more of an opportunity in Schottenheimer's offense than he got this rookie year. So we'll see where that one goes.
Jordan Lewis.
There's the next one is Jordan Lewis out the door.
And when I wrote my column, it was like the Cowboys were playing whack-a-mole. Mole shoots up, they hit it down, they get somebody, and then another one pops up. And Jordan Lewis was that. They couldn't touch that money.
No, I heard about that one.
3 years, $30 million.
$30 million, right. $10 million a year for a 30-year-old slot corner.
And somebody who was one of the favorites in the locker room as well.
Yes.
From what I heard, everyone was very happy for him. Hated to see him go, but glad to see someone get as much money as he got, because everyone felt that he deserved it, considering how much heart that he played with throughout the entire career here.
Yeah, he was, and just a good soldier. I mean, really, and played the slot well. So I looked this up, and he couldn't pass this up, right? He played 8 years with the Cowboys. He totaled $21 million in cash.
He just got 20.
He just got it. Yeah, right.
Right. He just got 20.
Third round pick in 2017,
and he got $20 million guaranteed. $12.5 million his first year. So, yeah. So again, when teams have money available like that under the cap, they can just wipe you out. Yeah. And it doesn't matter if they make a mistake, because the amount of money they have available, it absorbs any mistakes you might make. It's not like, oh, God, we just spent $20 million and look what happened. It's like, okay, you take out the eraser. And
He's in Jacksonville?
Jacksonville, yes.
Yes, Jacksonville. So,
what were you going to say, Bill?
I'm looking it up right now, George, because I was going to ask you about this, but before I ask you about it, I want to find exactly what he tweeted out. So let me hold that thought for just a moment about Jordan Lewis. It was basically what was asked of him as a slot corner in this league, in playing man and carrying receivers downfield.
Right.
He does more as a slot corner than what other cornerbacks are last season, what other cornerbacks were asked to do.
And that's just talking pass defense. We're not even mentioning the run defense, where he really showed me what a stubborn person he is.
So is the slot
at his
corner?
size, he refused to be picked on as the little guy in the middle of all that confusion.
So the slot corner are usually in man, or can you zone, or both?
Well, slot corner, usually you're going to be in man.
Yeah.
Depending on the team that you play with.
Right.
So you've got to be able to cover not just one side or the other,
for
but
10
you're talking
yards
about
or whatever.
the middle of the field. So that means that the wide receiver has 2 ways to go every time he's down the field. So you can't play the sidelines like you usually can if you're playing a cornerback position. At safety, you have to worry about playing man-to-man. Safeties don't worry about playing man-to-man. And he has to play run defense as if he's a linebacker
on the
or
line
a safety.
of scrimmage, right.
And at someone of his size, That's something that I was very impressed with because I didn't have to do that until I got to the Giants. And then, of course, that was continued Belichick with the Browns. And I really took a lot of pride in the fact that I was able to play that slot position after not really playing it at all my first 9 years in the league. But it's a mentality that you have to have. And the referees, they kind of give you a little leeway inside because they know it's a tough job. But I used to try and put as much hands on those wide receivers as possible. You got to get the hands on them first, impede their progress. But at the same time, you have to know when they're trying to run the ball. So you've got a lot of things going on, especially on third down. You have to think third and short, what they're going to do, third and long, what they're going to do. And Jordan Lewis did all of that very well. His anticipation during his entire career here, I thought was very impressive.
See, and that gets overlooked and should be a feather in Darren Woodson's Hall of Fame.
No doubt about it. We talk about it all the time. We talk about
his
it all the time.
His ability to play the run in the slot and lead this franchise in career tackles.
And he's doing it he did it as a safety.
Right.
He never tried to be a cornerback. So to play that slot as a safety when you have no cornerback history at all, that was pretty impressive. I can't believe the Cowboys actually asked him to do it. We didn't have anyone else besides Darren Woodson that could cover a slot, and we could put Darren in the back where he could really make things happen. I was just, that's something that was very unusual
They
for me.
fell into it.
They really did.
Because when they drafted him, and I know we're getting off the free agency, when they drafted him, he had been a hybrid linebacker at Arizona State.
He's going from a hybrid linebacker to a hybrid safety.
And his rookie year, they knew he was going to have to make the transition to safety, right? And Jimmy said, okay, we're going to have him play special teams and then ease him into that position, right? And then
I don't know how that helped.
The second year,
it did.
The second year, it was like, hey, Campo, we're putting him at safety, and then they realized he could play in the nickel. And Jimmy told me after that season, he goes, or later on, he told me that one of my biggest mistakes I made with Darren Woodson is I didn't start him as a rookie because I didn't think he'd be ready. Right. And they found out differently.
Finally, man, Jordan Lewis tweets.
You found it.
You found it?
He tweets
I talked enough.
Oh, he tweets a lot.
I went through all his tweets trying to find the one, which was on January 6th. Man, boy, he didn't like that Luka trade. On January 6th, he tweeted, "No other nickel. Know this. Other nickels aren't doing what I'm doing.
That's right.
Secondaries aren't doing what we're doing, period. We do not 2-to-1 read. We do not zone drop. When you turn on the tape, all you will see is us vertically carrying from first to fourth down."
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that's how you become.
Jacksonville noticed.
Somebody, I don't know how they figure it out because so many guys play in the nickel and move around that he's the highest paid nickel corner now in the league.
In history, yeah. And so when you think about what he just wrote about carrying them down the field, that's why they were running on him so well. You see, we're playing man-to-man. We're not playing zone. We're playing man-to-man, and now you have to, as a slot guy, you're really a linebacker, and you have to carry a guy down the field, but then you also have to wrestle with this guy if they run the ball, which they did a lot of these last 2 years.
And then
so you think what you're saying is offensive coordinators notice that?
Yeah. They're like, okay, these guys, their back is to the ball. So
like,
let's just run the ball. And the guys, he's Mickey's size.
We got a small nickel out there.
Yeah, you got.
And I only have 2 linebackers out there. Well, maybe
and we start the game like this. Well, this is not third down. We start the game like this. So that's why you're looking at us giving up historically bad run games.
Well, if you think about it, the year before when they would go into that big nickel, so he's in the slot, and then they were playing Curse as the linebacker along with whoever was in the middle.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then when that guy got hurt, Bell had to assume that spot.
And before we go to break, since you mentioned Bell,
Yes.
Mark, one of the understated signings,
Yes.
because we focus so much on an unrestricted free agents, is the fact that Marquise Bell, a restricted free agent, is back on a 3-year contract. And I bring it up because what we saw with Marquise Bell 2 years ago with Dan Quinn as his defensive coordinator, he saw so much in him that he moves him to linebacker, and he was basically the leading tackler on this team after injuries at the linebacker position. And then last year, with Mike Zimmer as the defensive coordinator, he never got on the field on defense.
Well,
now we got a new defensive coordinator, and what it tells me is Matt Eberflus has looked at the tape and decided, you know what, I can use this guy.
I can maybe play him at safety instead of linebacker.
And you got both safeties coming back in Donovan Wilson and Malik Hooker, which you had last year. But it looks like that Eberflus has a plan for Marquise Bell.
And what they did, and we'll get into that, and the contract structure for Cavante Turpin. Both guys were restricted free agents. So Marquise Bell wasn't drafted, but if they tendered him for right of first refusal, it was going to be $3.2 million against the cap. But signing him to a 3-year deal and giving him a signing bonus, now his cap hit for the first year is less than that $3 million because they spread out the signing bonus. So they actually saved money, and we can get into Turpin's deal also because it got blown up as 3 years, $18 million, but the real numbers will come next.
And Marquise Bell's was blown up to 3 years, $9 million, but his guarantee is $6.2 million guarantee.
Right.
So,
yes.
All right, we continue with more Mick Shots in just a moment.
Cowboys football and Miller Lite. What a pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going way past postgame. Sunday night overtimes followed by Monday morning swagger. Brisket in the smoker. Miller Lite in the cooler. America's team playing America's greatest sport. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
How do you tell the world about all the great gifts in the Yeti store? Let her rip, Troy.
All right, folks, let's get started with the Yeti French Press. Enjoy coffee that stays hot for hours in a French press. 34 ounce for you, 6'4" for the cruise. The Yeti French Press. Hot mix waterproof bags. Bags waterproof. Submersible waterproof doubles. Waterproof bags. World's mostly water, so get a waterproof Yeti bag. Do I smell something cooking? Oh, new cast iron skillets made to be passed down like Mama's recipes. Take a steak, cornbread, cobbler's pot pie, and potatoes next oval with 3 sizes of Yeti cast iron skillets.
Gear, gifts, and product experts. Visit the Yeti store on McKinney Street and at South Lake Town Square today.
Hey, Cowboy fans, I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. But lately, I've been learning a new game, crypto. Sound confusing? Don't worry, even us pros were rookies in crypto once. That's why I trust blockchain.com. They make crypto easy. No confusing jargon, just the tools to help you win.
Prescott keeps it, slides with a first down.
Invest like your icons, where everyone is a rookie in crypto with blockchain.com.
Perfect throw, my goodness. Wow, did he ever thread the needle?
Visit blockchain.com/cowboys to get started.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
Back to Mick Shots.
Go what?
Just read the first one on there.
Experience a fabulous shopping day at the Fleestyle Market at the Star, presented by Marketplace by Michaels on Saturday, March 22nd. This vibrant outdoor market is packed with over 60 local artisans offering a curated selection of fashion, jewelry, home decor, kids' goodies, and lifestyle must-haves. For all the details, head to thestardistrict.com. I guess.
All right.
You know what that reminds me of? my college roommate was getting married, and in the middle of the ceremony, the next guy was supposed to go up and do the reading.
Right.
And the guy that did it before shut the Bible.
He had to go find Ephesians.
He just opened the Bible. He just opened it and started reading whatever page came up.
Because he knew I'm gonna burn in hell because I don't read the Bible. Everybody just said that boy burning in hell.
You know what? In college, I had a roommate that had a piranha.
He's reading the wrong thing, and we all started laughing because we knew the idiot before who was making
close the book,
who was making fun of Herschel Walker because he went to Georgia with Herschel Walker, and he said he was in one of his classes, and he's like, Herschel couldn't even read, something like that. And he gets up there and screws up. Like,
way to show him, buddy.
Anyway,
okay,
go. So, where were we?
We move back to
Cavante Turpin.
Yeah, Cavante Turpin is next on the list.
Yes. And
it was announced as a 3-year, $18 million deal for Cavante.
Yeah,
Turpin.
and it was supposed to be 3 years, could be
up to 18.
Okay. So everybody out there was like, oh my God, they gave him $6 million a year. Well, the truth of the matter is it was 3 years, $13.5 million. He got a $3.6 million signing bonus and guaranteed $5 million, okay? So he was a restricted free agent. I think we talked about this last time, that they were going to have to tender him at a second round to get right of refusal. And if you refuse, you get a second round pick back. Well, that was going to cost $5.3 million, right, against the cap. Well, by doing what they did, they saved $2 million against the salary cap.
Nice.
By giving him a bonus. And they've done this before with special teams guys. I can't remember the guy's name. It was a defensive back bill from Italy.
Italy, Texas?
Yes.
I'm glad you said that. Like, whoa.
Keith Davis.
Keith Davis. And they did the same thing with him one year. Instead of paying him the restricted, they gave him a 2-year deal, paid him a little bit of signing bonus. You get your money, but it doesn't all count against the cap.
Right.
So basically in 2025, his base salary is $1.4 million. The proration on his signing bonus is $1.2 million. He's got $500,000 roster bonus, meaning games played. So they reduced his deal to $2.56 million and saved. You know, and it doesn't sound like a lot, right? But I figured out if you take the Cowboys' top 5 salary cap hits for this year, it's $121 million. So if you save $2 million, that's basically 2 first-year players.
Right.
So every $1 million counts when you're looking at this stuff.
Well, and when you look at the details of his contract, he really wants to play offense. Because, because
that's where the incentive.
We want him to play offense.
The incentives are $1.5 million for catches and playoffs in 2027, and in 26, 27, $1.5. He's got a chance to have multiple bonuses up to $1.5 million, basically, if he plays offense and if this team is successful. And he had a great interview. I thought we ran it last night that Patrick No-C Walker did with him after he signed the contract, and he was talking about maybe being used more on offense with Schottenheimer now, and Cavante talks as fast as he runs, but he's like he wants to be a weapon on offense, and he'll play tight tight end if it needs to be. If it needs to play tight end, whatever.
That's what
the
happens.
World's smallest tight end.
That's what happens with people from Louisiana. Right? Talk fast.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I got in-laws that can.
But you know, from what I heard, that Schottenheimer would like to incorporate him a little more into the offense. I think he.
I heard McCarthy was going to do that too.
Yeah, and he never did. Right. 31 catches last year.
Yeah.
That was a career high, like 400 some yards. I want it right off the top of my head. Because when he was named the UFL Offensive Player of the Year that last year there, he was a great returner, but it was his wide receiver stuff that really got him noted as a kind of all-around football player. So that was a good signing. Getting
when it
that
comes
guy
to somebody
back.
like Turpin, you've got to have a game plan ready for someone like him. Someone with that kind of talent, you want to make sure that the game plan allows him to be used as best as possible. And what I've always seen with him is offensively, we almost made the play. It was almost the play we needed. It was almost set up just perfect for us, but one block wasn't made here or one block wasn't made there. Turpin is the kind of guy, you got to set it up perfectly to where once the play is called, you got to run it to perfection because he's that guy. If you run it to perfection, it's a guaranteed touchdown. We're not talking about just getting a first down. He's the guy that when you do it correctly and you set him up correctly, you're talking about going for touchdowns. And that's what I think he should be more susceptible to running touchdowns as opposed to just getting first downs. That's what I want to see from him.
And here's another thing that gets overlooked. So they bring him back. He's a first-team All-Pro returner, right? Well, they also made sure that they didn't have to spend a lot. They brought back their deep snapper, Trent Sig, and then they brought back Brian Anger, and I was told there were other teams looking at Brian.
I bet they were. I'll bet they were.
Right?
Yes.
And for Anger, you keep that kicking operation all together. The snapper, the holder, and the kicker, who, by the way, led you with 150 points last year, which it ties for second most points in a single season with Emmitt Smith, who had 25 touchdowns the 1995 season.
All right, Dak Prescott is the oldest player on this Cowboys offense. He'll turn 32 in July.
Okay.
Who's the second oldest player on this Cowboys offense?
On the offense.
On the offense. On the current roster, who's the second oldest player on this offense?
Well, it's not on the offensive line.
Interesting. The offensive line is the oldest is probably Terrence Steele, who turns 28 in June.
It's not.
It isn't Terrence Steele.
It's Cavante Turpin.
Wow.
Cavante Turpin turns 29 in August.
Oh, I was going to say, I was trying to find somebody that was 30, and I'm going, no one's 30.
He turns 29 in August. Yes. And even when you go to defense, you've got Donovan Wilson turns 30, or you just turned 30, and Malik Hooker turns 29 in April. And aside from that, you've got
what about Solomon Thomas?
The newly signed Solomon Thomas is 29. He'll turn 30 in December.
He was a favorite.
That's how young this team is.
This is a young team.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which I guess
it happened quickly, too.
We should spend time on him. That was one of Bill's favorites in that draft.
Yep, Solomon Thomas, who was the third pick in the draft in 2017 out of Coppell, Texas. He's coming home. And I'll go ahead and say this, that my son-in-law is from Coppell, and his family are friends with the Thomas family.
Oh, okay.
And so when the Cowboys hired Aaron Whitecotton as the defensive line coach, and he was with the Jets the last 4 years or whatever. And before that, he was at San Francisco, and that was where Solomon was. I texted them, and I said, I guarantee you Solomon's going to be a Cowboy in a month. And so I high-fived myself when the signing happened. But that was as predictable a signing as you could have. You know what? I looked up, and I followed him ever since he was in high school. But and you talk about high character, leader type guy. I mean, this is exactly who you want on your football team. But I looked up the last 2 years, and I actually tweeted this out, so let me go find the stats. His number of snaps the last 2 years, he's just under 1,000 snaps with the Jets, with 8 sacks, I think 12 or 13 tackles for loss. Oso Odighizuwa, the last 2 years, has around 1,500 snaps with 12 and a half sacks and about the same number of tackles for loss. He has more quarterback pressures than Solomon does. Okay. But the stats the last 2 years are very similar. So, but my point is, I think Solomon is a great complement to Oso Odighizuwa here. And where, Osa's been getting 850, 900 snaps a season, while Solomon's been around 500, 450 to 500 with the Jets. And a rotation in there or side by side in pass situations. Solomon has, you look at his, and this is why he was the third pick in the draft out of Stanford. When he came out, he was 6'2", 273. He's now listed at 295 pounds. 30 bench reps, strong as an ox in there. 35 with a 35 vertical and a 10.5 broad jump, and his cone drill was under 7 at 6.95. And he's got the athleticism, and so in the right scheme, which is Matt Eberflus's scheme, and how he wants his linemen to play in the backfield, basically. Right.
Like Warren Sapp.
Right, and so I think that, and the other thing about Solomon, I mean, the last couple of years, he's been the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year nominee for the Jets. The things he does in the community. As I texted his dad yesterday and said, man, this is so great for Solomon and his life after football, getting established in the community here in Dallas as a Cowboy. So anyway, I'm just really thrilled for the family.
So you look at that as a really good sign.
I like it from what his role.
Standpoints, right.
Yeah. So was he defensive end, both defensive tackle?
He was basically 3 technique is what he.
Okay.
Yeah, defensive, but he's versatile enough. He can play like Chauncey did, playing on the edge as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I thought that was.
So I think you're looking at. I mean, Chauncey Golston. What was his role on this?
Yeah, same thing.
Line? Yeah.
Both.
Right. And, Chauncey, it was announced as a 3-year, $19.5 million deal with the Giants. Yeah. So you get Solomon at 2 years up to $8 million. And so I like the move signing Solomon.
And by the way, that they got Osa done on a long-term deal saved a lot of cap space this year because he was going to count, if they had to franchise him, $25 million.
All right, we got others to get to. We need to get this break in, and we're back with more Mick Shots in just a moment.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with pregame sideline access and photo ops with current players, cheerleaders, and Cowboy legends. You want to stay at a team hotel, attend the best tailgate party in Texas, tour the Star, and talk X's and O's with me, Everson Walls? With Star Sports Tours, you can. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
Hey Cowboy fans, I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. But lately, I've been learning a new game, crypto. Sound confusing? Don't worry, even us pros were rookies in crypto once. That's why I trust blockchain.com. They make crypto easy. No confusing jargon, just the tools to help you win.
Prescott keeps it, slides with a first down.
Invest like your icons, where everyone is a rookie in crypto with blockchain.com.
Perfect throw, my goodness. Wow, did he ever thread the needle.
Visit blockchain.com/Cowboys to get started.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with pregame sideline access and photo ops with current players, cheerleaders, and Cowboy legends. You want to stay at a team hotel, attend the best tailgate party in Texas, tour the Star, and talk X's and O's with me, Everson Walls? With Star Sports Tours, you can. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
Cowboys football and Miller Lite. What a pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going way past postgame. Sunday night overtimes followed by Monday morning swagger. Brisket in the smoker. Miller Lite in the cooler. America's team playing America's greatest sport. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
Back to Mick Shots.
The Dallas Cowboys Girls Flag Football League is here. With nearly 100 participating high schools, the Cowboys are thrilled to provide opportunities for athletes to develop their talent and foster the growth of girls flag football in the state of Texas. Find teams, view schedules, and learn more at dallascowboys.com/girlsflag.
All right, we continue with Mick Shots here, and the Cowboys became Trader Jerry all of a sudden at 3 o'clock when the new league year kicked off yesterday afternoon. What's going on with these trades, Mickey?
Well, they gave up very little to try to kind of patch or help patch holes going into the draft. The first one that went down, they traded for cornerback Kyer Elam from the Buffalo Bills. He was a former first-round pick that only started 12 of 29 games he played for the Bills, and they weren't going to pick up his fifth-year option. He was inactive, he was hurt, and so...
I don't like your tone, Spags.
Is he related to Andrew Booth?
Kind of the same, except Booth was a second-round pick.
Booth was the 42nd pick.
I just don't like his tone. This is
well, I'm not saying that they solved their cornerback problem.
You are definitely not saying that. I can tell you're trying your best not to say that.
So
he sounds like he's...
Well, you got this guy.
One signing, Everson, one signing we have neglected to mention is the fact that Chuma Edoga is now a Jacksonville Jaguar.
Oh, wow.
Nikki doesn't have to talk about him.
It
sounds like Chuma's walking back in the door.
We got
Kyer Elam.
This is Chuma. This is Chuma's replacement for Spags. This guy.
Well,
this guy.
Look, when you get a cornerback who was a former first, along with a 2025 sixth-round pick, and you only had to give up a 2025 fifth, which was a compensatory pick for the Cowboys, and a 2026 seventh, they were just looking to basically unload him for something.
Well, they did unload him.
So, which gets us back to when we talked about losing Jordan Lewis. Before they made that trade, the list of linebackers, not named Deron Bland, was pretty thin.
That list of cornerbacks.
Cornerbacks, I'm sorry. Cornerbacks. Kalen Carson was probably the top of that list. Josh Butler, Keeman Hall.
Josh Butler coming off ACL in November.
Right.
So he's not going to be ready for the start of camp.
Keeman Hall, Andrew Booth. Got anybody else? No, because you know what? Trayvon
Troy
Diggs.
Pride and Luke Barku.
Okay. Like I said, and there's a very good chance Trayvon Diggs not going to be ready to start the season.
And by the way, that sixth-round pick that they got they got a sixth back, right?
Yes.
And so they peddle that moments later to Tennessee for Kenneth Murray,
which was another player you liked in that green notebook coming out of Oklahoma.
And let me first say this: I don't like all players that come out of Oklahoma. In fact, I probably you can speak for Missouri, okay? There are players that come out of Missouri that you have watched for the last 3 or 4 years, and you're like, no, don't take him.
Right.
Okay, and then there are other players you're, okay, yeah. Like Membu would be one you would be on board with.
Nick Bolton, linebacker.
Yeah, Darius Robinson was another one that you liked, whatever. But there have been plenty of others that you don't
go,
like.
whoa, be careful.
Well, Kenneth Murray was one of those that I liked coming out of Oklahoma.
I thought you were going to say dislike where you were setting this up.
No, that's why I set it up that way.
Okay.
And he's one that I like coming out. And he went to the Chargers as a first-round pick, 23 overall. And then he wound up signing with Tennessee. So he was in the 2020 draft. And so he's been with Tennessee the last couple of years and leading tackler for them last year. And when I look at his contract, what he's got left on it, it looks like it's 1 year. It's $7.5 million.
Yes, you're right.
And but I think it was a necessary. You talk about athleticism, okay? He has reminded me athletically of going back to college of DeMarvion Overshown.
Right.
Okay. And so I looked up, and Kenneth is 26. He'll turn 27 in November. All right. Overshown ran a let me find him here. He ran a 4.55 at the combine. Kenneth Murray ran a 4.52. Overshown at a 36.5 vertical. Kenneth Murray a 38 vertical. Overshown a 10.6 broad jump. Murray a 10.9 broad jump. So athletically, he's right there with Overshown, but he's got a lot more experience playing.
So why was he playing middle linebacker? When he came out, he was an outside linebacker.
He played in the middle at OU. Of course, they only had one linebacker on the field, basically,
right,
in Riley's defenses. But he was really good.
Well, I saw this stuff about where he was rated and everything. He led the Titans in tackles, by the way, 95. So
6'2", 241, and see, Overshown is 6'2", 220, so he's 20 pounds heavier than. So that's why he's in the middle, too.
By the way, and Overshown was not going to be ready for the start of the season.
Right. And so I'm sitting there going,
if you don't re-sign Eric Kendricks, you've got
which they
nothing.
aren't now. He's the Eric Kendricks replacement.
Right.
And but when Overshown gets ready and you have Murray and Overshown on the field together, wow. If Overshown can get back to playing,
because it was Maris, Leofau, and
it takes nothing away from Leofau. I mean, he's right there.
He's going to be a starter. And by the way,
Jack Sanborn, who was our lead story,
that's right.
Mick Shots.
And
he started,
buried him.
He started 3 games for Chicago last year.
Well, he had started. Where did I see that? I made a note. In 2023 for Eberflus, he started 10 of 17 games.
I heard he was very athletic.
He is.
They say he's
he is
really elusive linebacker.
He's a younger replacement for Nick Vigil because he'll play special teams too. So these are just little things they've done. Everybody wants a splash, but when you got to be careful, knowing that you're going to spend money on Micah Parsons, you got to kind of patch things together. Now, the other thing on Elam, which, by the way, you were talking about 40s, I think I saw he ran a 4.39 coming out in
and that's why you're a first-round draft pick.
Right? A corner that can run. So,
and good size to 6'1", I think.
Got to hope he can still run.
Now, having said that, I've talked about guys that I like in Solomon Thomas and Kenneth Murray. I got no idea on this Peyton Turner from the Saints.
He didn't.
What position?
He's a defensive end. He's 6'6", 270. He's got the traits that you're looking for with like 35-inch arms and
like D-Lo.
But he hasn't played. He's been hurt. He was hurt.
Don't mention those two names.
He came out of Houston. He came out of Houston, and he was hurt a lot in Houston. He got drafted in the first round, 28th overall by the Saints 4 years ago, based on traits. and he hasn't been able to either get on the field or stay on the field.
31 games he played in 4 years, no starts.
So why are we investing in guys like
couple of sacks last year because he's got potential, and you're not investing much. It's a 1 year, $3 million, $2 million guaranteed. It's slightly above the veteran minimum, basically. And so you're taking a chance that maybe it'll hit and he'll stay healthy.
You probably looked at your draft notes and said, here's what we thought of this guy.
And others felt the same way. That's why he's a first-round draft pick.
Right.
And you hope you tap into that potential.
As an undrafted free agent, I am appalled at some of these signings, man. Like, what are we doing here? This cornerback, I mean, I remember Romo talking about this guy, I think, during the game. He was getting toasted up, man, as a cornerback. I'm just, man, what are we looking at here? Are we looking at
Kaiir Elam.
Yes. Yeah. I mean,
and in fact, that's what happened like in the playoffs against Buffalo. Yeah. Christian Benford, who beat him out, gets hurt, and Mahomes immediately picked on Elam.
Yes, he did.
And so that's what you're doing. And that's why,
by the way,
that's why we spoke of him in the same terms as Chuma coming in. He's got a lot to prove.
Yes, I know.
And Peyton has a lot to prove also.
So Elam, his dad played here twice.
Abram.
Okay.
Abe
Elam.
Called him.
Abe Elam.
I can't believe Abe Elam is old enough to have it.
Well, he came as a rookie in 2006. So that's 20 seasons ago, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, we'll have more on Abe Elam. On
Eddie came back, played 1 year, and then came back in 2011, played one more year. And in between, played other places, too, as a safety.
Okay.
So,
he's probably listening to you dog his son.
I didn't dog him. You guys did.
No.
Pull the tape. Gotta go.
All right.
Well, you interpreted.
We'll be back Monday at 11 a.m. with more Kaiir Elam talk.
Go Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!